Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Poppy Playtime. Because in the last few days a lot of things have been happening, even though on the surface Mob Entertainment seems to be completely silent. And that's exactly the point. When a studio like Mob Entertainment goes quiet but keeps moving behind the scenes, it usually means that something big is being prepared. In this video we're going to look at all the official announcements, but most importantly, we'll analyze everything that's happening behind the scenes. Because even without explosive trailers or direct announcements, we've already seen in previous videos that many things are actively happening. For example, the Poppy Playtime Steam page is receiving constant updates. On top of that, the registered trademarks have been updated and prepared for publication just a few days ago, and this is always a very important signal when it comes to new phases of a project. And as if that wasn't enough, just yesterday, Mob Entertainment posted an official image showing a discount on the previous Poppy Playtime chapters on Steam. So today we'll put all these pieces together. Official updates, hidden movements, Mob Entertainment strategies, and the most realistic theories about what could be coming very soon. The goal of this video is to create a complete picture of the situation so we can truly understand where Poppy Playtime is heading and what we can expect in the near future. Before we dive into the video though, I want to ask you something very important. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like because it helps the channel grow a lot, and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any news, theories or updates about Poppy Playtime and the horror world in general. That said, it's time to get into the details and analyze everything that's happening behind the scenes. Let's start first of all with yesterday's announcement. Yesterday, in fact, Mob Entertainment published an official post with an announcement that directly concerns the previous chapters of Poppy Playtime. In the post, there is the image that you can see here on screen, an image that at first glance might seem simple, but actually hides several interesting details. In this announcement, Mob Entertainment states that chapters 2, 3, and 4 of Poppy Playtime will be discounted by 50% on Steam as part of what is described as a winter sale. We are therefore talking about a very significant discount, not a small price cut, but a major reduction that makes these chapters extremely accessible even to those who have never played the series before. Obviously, chapter 1 is not included in the discount, and this makes perfect sense, because the first chapter is already free and represents the ideal entry point for anyone approaching Poppy Playtime for the first time. In the same way, chapter 5 is not mentioned, simply because it has not yet been released and therefore cannot be part of any promotion. In the image we can clearly see the presence of the three main mascots of these three chapters, Mommy Longlegs, Catnap, and Doe the Doveman. At this point, a question naturally arises: why such a big discount right now? A first answer could simply be related to the Christmas period, which is traditionally one of the strongest times for sales on Steam. However, considering the overall context, it is very likely that this discount also has another purpose. In fact, everything suggests that Mob Entertainment is trying to attract new players, preparing the ground for the next big step of the series. And if we consider that this is effectively the marketing period for Chapter 5, then this winter sale takes on an even more strategic meaning. Bringing as many people as possible to play Chapters 2, 3, and 4 now means expanding the audience, strengthening interest in the story, and making sure that when Chapter 5 arrives, there will be a much larger and more engaged player base. In short, this announcement is not just a simple promotion, but seems to be a very specific piece within a much bigger strategy. And already from here, we can sense that something important is moving behind the scenes. Now let's move on to another fundamental point. Namely, all the other updates that have been happening lately and that, when put together, tell us much more than it might seem at first glance. As we have already seen in previous videos, almost every day new updates emerge related to Poppy Playtime. We are not talking about direct announcements or official statements, but about small, constant movements that clearly indicate that the project is in full activity. These updates mainly concern two specific areas: the Steam page and the trademarks. Let's start with the Steam page, which continues to be updated with a really interesting frequency. Very often these are changes that are not immediately visible to the public, so we are not talking about new images, trailers, or obvious descriptions. These are invisible updates, internal and technical changes, but they still leave traces and show that the team is constantly working behind the scenes. This type of update is extremely important because it usually happens when a studio is preparing something. The fact that these changes happen so regularly is absolutely not random. But it's not just Steam that is moving. The trademark side has also shown very interesting developments. In recent days, several trademarks have received new updates, and in particular we are talking about the names Lily Lovebraids, Chom Chomkins, and Globy. We have already analyzed these names in previous videos, trying to understand what role they might have within the Poppy Playtime universe. The most important part, however, comes right here. We have in fact seen that already on December 16th, these names were published in the official Gazette, a fundamental step that officially makes them final and confirmed names. This means that we are no longer dealing with simple provisional registrations or ideas left hanging, but with concrete elements that Mob Entertainment has decided to protect and make official. When a name reaches this stage, it usually means that it is destined to be used in a real way within the project. Whether for characters, narrative content, merchandising, or other brand-related expansions. And this is exactly what makes the situation so interesting. Putting all these elements together, the constant updates on Steam, the movements around the trademarks, and the official publication of the names, it becomes increasingly clear that Mob Entertainment is not standing still at all. On the contrary, they are working silently but extremely actively, carefully preparing the next step. And all of this further reinforces the idea that what we are seeing right now is just a preparatory phase, a sort of apparent calm before something much bigger. Now we arrive at perhaps the most interesting part of all, which is trying to understand what the next announcement could be. Here we can come up with many theories, but let's start with what seems almost certain. It is very likely, if not practically guaranteed, that Mob Entertainment will release a Christmas-themed artwork. This is something the studio has already done in the past and fits perfectly with the way they usually communicate with the community. The key point, however, is something we have clearly learned in recent months. These artworks never come alone anymore. Just look at what happened recently. When Mob Entertainment released the Halloween artwork, they also released the first teaser trailer. The same thing happened shortly after. Just a few days before the Thanksgiving Day artwork, Mob Entertainment published a short teaser, the video dedicated to the experiment 1202, and as if that wasn't enough, the following week, they also released the first cinematic trailer, confirming that all these contents were part of a very precise plan. By now, this pattern is quite clear. Artwork with a new announcement. And that is exactly why the possible arrival of a Christmas artwork cannot be considered an isolated event. On the contrary, looking at what happened in the past, we absolutely cannot rule out that together with the Christmas artwork, something else could also arrive. Whether it's a new trailer, a mysterious image, a new video. Considering everything we have analyzed so far in this video, it would be perfectly coherent to see a new piece added right during this period. So, if we look at Mob Entertainment's recent behavior, everything suggests that Christmas might not just be a celebration, but also the chosen moment to push the hype even further and bring us closer to the next big announcement. And at this point, the real question is not if something will arrive, but what will arrive. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. You are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.